You know, they say you can find a Bajan living anywhere in the world, and many of them are doing big things. In this series of We Bajans, the Diaspora edition, we'll feature Barbadians living in the south and southeastern parts of the USA. First up is a Bajan who went from selling pizza right here at the Alexandra school to cooking for celebrities worldwide. Meet Chef Paul, a Barbadian living in Florida. Hi, Chef Paul.
Good morning, how are you?
I am good. So, I heard you live in Miami, but your roots began in Barbados. So tell me about those young days you had growing up here in the island.
Man, I grew up in Fitz Village with my grandmother. That's where I spent most of my time learning how to cook from my grandmother. All the days of, fish, flying fish down my Jordan supermarket. And that's where I started to hone my craft of cooking and food. Little known trivia, when Jordan's first opened, my grandmother and I were the first people inside the store. I think there's a picture somewhere in the National Archive of that. I would like to get that, but that was a little trivia there.
That's interesting. I'm from Fitz Village as well. So I know exactly what you're talking about with the fish. That's so interesting. So tell me what it was like back then growing up in Fitz Village.
It did change. Let me correct that. I spent a lot of time in Fitz Village, but I actually grew up in Paradise Heights with my mom and my dad. But I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. That's where my heart lies, man. My heart lies down there.
Okay, so tell me now about your school days in Barbados.
So I went to Alexandra Secondary School, fantastic school, and there the teachers gave me opportunity to start selling pizza, and that was used to pay for my driving lessons.
So you started at Alexandra's
Alexandra.
School. So at that time, did you know you had the passion for cooking?
Yes. When I was 9, I always making jokes that my mother wouldn't feed me fast enough, so I had to feed myself. So I started cooking like around 9 or 10. I mean, I was real bad, but I got better, and maybe like around 11, 12, I learned how to make pizza crust, and then I perfected it. And then at 14, that's when I start my little pizza business at school, selling pizza. And a couple of teachers didn't believe me. They were like, "Man, you buying this stuff from Doc and then reselling it?" But I was like, "No, I'm making this myself."
So you started as a young entrepreneur and chef, and then you found yourself in the US. Let's talk about what moved you towards that direction.
I did a little internship at the Culinary Club right in Barbados. And one day my mom asked me, "Hey, look, there's an opportunity to go to culinary school in Miami. Are you interested?" Before she could ask me if I was interested, my bags was packed. I was ready to go to explore the world and see what's out there. And came to Miami in 96. I went to Johnson & Wales Culinary School, did my associates, and then I did my bachelor's in culinary arts, graduated in 2000, and I started my business then. And then later on, I got my MBA, my master's from Nova. One of the gifts that my parents gave to me was they said they'll pay for my first degree, and that's what they did. The second degree, I worked my butt off, and I helped pay for it as well. Then my master's, I paid for myself. Expensive as still, but yeah.
But a worthwhile investment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I say, had it not been for that opportunity, I would not be where I am today, for sure.
So tell me about the transition from Barbados to the US.
Man, that was rough. I mean, I was 16, going on 17. When I came here, people in the US didn't even know where Barbados was. Asked if we live in trees or huts, and if I walk barefoot, and bare foolishness. And just the cultural barriers between the two countries was a major change. Was a major challenge for me.
Expand on that. What do you mean by the cultural barriers?
In the islands, we're a little bit more laid back. Things are a little easier in terms of, getting to know somebody. Your name means something. when it came to the United States, it was nobody know you. You have to learn a whole new culture, whole new food. They have food I never see before in my life, different cultures and customs. Thanksgiving and all these different things you had to go and learn, and it was just me learning it by myself.
So what made you decide to stay?
I got real comfortable here, and I started to build a network. When I was in college, I started volunteering at a lot of different events. And from there, that's where I started building my clientele. And I recognized that this is a niche market that I can captivate here. And I like the temperature. And I found myself like, I love Barbados, but I wanted to explore the world. And I found that Miami was a really good hub for that at the time.
What exactly did you get into at that point in time?
So I was a private chef cooking for Inner Circle, bad boys, what you get them. So that my niche market was being a private chef, just cooking good food for people, and cooking Caribbean food for people. Back then, nobody know what rice and peas and macaroni pie was, so I kind of introduced that to some of my clients, and that was where my niche was created.
Tell me about some of the things that you would have used that particular experience with Inner Circle to achieve.
Okay, well, Inner Circle owned a music studio, and their music studio is the #1 music studio in the world. From there, I was able to meet a lot of different people, and I started recognizing the power of networking. And through networking, I was able to land some of my biggest clients. I think my biggest client after them was Dallas Austin, and then he put me on to Lenny Kravitz, Martin Lawrence, and then that's when the Denzel came about. He heard about me working with them and was impressed, and they actually called me and asked me if I want to work for him, and that was a shock. And I noticed I got bigger and bigger clients as the years went on, and they keep asking me to travel with them. And then one year I got a call from a coalition in China. This is 2016, asking me if I'd like to come to China to spearhead the first Caribbean China food festival. And that was a monumental thing for me. We went there, and then I went back in November, did the 50th anniversary independence anniversary dinner and in China. And after that, I started traveling and talking about my experiences to different colleges and universities, different culinary schools around the world.
Because what I found out is when you think that you know everything, is when you confidently display you know nothing at all. I'm forever learning. I graduated with my bachelor's when I turned 20. It's not until 31 I went and got my master's. Never stop learning.
I've been to Rarotonga, Aitutaki. This is a small Pacific island out of New Zealand, Australia, Canada. We're a couple places in Europe, Malta. I've been, and it's amazing how food could have done that for me, you know?
Would you have ever imagined when you left Barbados when you were 16 years old that you would be doing all of those things?
Not a chance, man. I know I had a vision of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, but I would have never imagined that I would have got this far. Never.
So you worked for many stars. Were you starstruck at any point in time, coming from a little island like Barbados?
For sure, man. The whole situation with Denzel, I drive in my little car, driving the road, and I get this call. Didn't know who it was. This person said Denzel. Back then, I ain't thinking that Denzel calling me. So I go to the house the next day to go meet him, and out comes Denzel. He eating the boy cereal, so he started bad already. I know I scream it inside, but I trying to remain at some sort of professional decorum. But when I left there, calling mother, I was like, Mom, I working for Denzel now. She never dropped the phone. I think I was 22. I was 22 at that time, 22, 23 at that time. So, I was definitely starstruck for sure.
But that's a big deal and quite a bit to achieve at such a young age.
It was, and there had some days before that that was real broke. All I had in the fridge was light. So to get to that point and really see that my food could do this I think that's when I really, really, gain confidence and recognize that this could become, a lifelong business.
When you spoke about the struggles you went through, let's talk about those times, because people always hear about the good stuff, but they forget that sometimes people really go through hardship to get there. Let's hear about your journey.
Man, during college and after college, it was tough. I think my first car, the gas gauge didn't work, air conditioning didn't work, and this is in Miami, so you talk about 100 degrees. You're working 70, 80 hours a week on the grill. Living in the not the best neighborhoods. You got duck when you're coming home, and I think that you ain't got the money. Your account look like a Christmas tree, got real red on it. But those are the days that really set a precedent of the people around me and my work ethic, because I knew I wanted to get out of that and better myself. So I am thankful for those hard days.
What's the most challenging thing you had to adjust to once you started to live and work in the States?
Oh man, here is go all the time. You have the issue with you have people that hate you because they color your skin. Sometimes you get that. Let me tell you a story. When I first started my company, it's a true story. I created a character called Adam Davenport, right? Because people would not pay a little island boy the rates I wanted to pay. So I created this character, Adam Davenport. And I would pretend to be the character, email and talk on the phone, everything. And I would say, oh yeah, we got Chef Paul here. He's a great chef. We'll send him to you, whatever. And people would pay my rate, and they had no idea that that was me. But that's what we had to do to get by in the early 2000s.
Have you seen any changes in a positive direction in regards to race relations?
Oh yeah, for sure. We still got a lot to work on in race relations, but there's definitely some positive movements. People are a lot more, at ease. I don't work on the Adam anymore. People are a lot more at ease with hiring me, and so that's good.
I was reading up about you. You experienced some level of trauma during your later stage of adulthood, which led you to change somewhat the style of your cooking, if I'm correct.
Yes. So they did a biopsy on my back, and they saw something that was precancerous, and so we, it ended up just being a scare, but that scare was big enough for me to change my entire cuisine, and I went straight into a whole bunch of health food. And that was actually a very good thing, because a lot of my clients not wanted to eat properly, eat healthier, and I went back and I studied more on healthier food, and that created another niche market for me. So that's what my clients hire me for now.
How did that transition in terms of how you cook affect your physique, your health, and what's not? I would assume you would be cooking similar. The way you cook for your clients, you may have been cooking for yourself to some extent.
Correct. So I changed my diet to a diet that was very lean, very aesthetic. I started working a lot, getting a lot of muscle, and then my clients saw that and it's like, yo, this guy looks really good. Like, what are you eating? How are you working out? And they're like, well, I want whatever you do, I want that too. So, and that's how that side of the business came about.
How has that been compared to the previous niche that you had been offering?
Years later, that came into play when I got hired by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and me understanding food and fitness and how people work out and the importance of it really played a role in me being his chef. I was a chef about 6.5 years. So when he's filming a new film, he needs to either get bigger or leaner, more muscle mass, increase his shoulder size, and it's all from diet. And me understanding that
was impressive to him because he would say, I need to look this way, and I just knew what to do without any explanation. So it was good for me to have that background. The market that I had before, that that exhausted and that got saturated by a lot of people. Now this market is the one that is popping now. Everyone want to get in shape. Everyone want to look good for social media or for film or whatnot. A lot of my clients say, well, listen, I'm shooting film in 6 months. I want to look this way. What can you do? And I think that's just for now. That's just what's happening now in the world. And it just happened to be the right place, the right time.
So let's talk about Chef Paul at home, the family man. How did you find time when you were traveling the world, catering to stars, being a private chef? How did you find time to settle down and make a family in Miami?
Well, I was blessed with meeting a young lady years ago, and she's been a rock. She's been a rock for me, and she understands my career. She gives me the room to expand and to grow. And my clients also allow me to bring my family with me when I travel. So I've taken, my daughter with me. She's been to China. My daughter and my son, they've been to Malta, to Canada. When I traveled to Bahamas, and I'm grateful that my clients allow me to do that, because I do have a lot of time away from home, and it's good that they can come with me sometimes, see the world, number one, and number two, they're with me, and daddy's working.
So is your wife a Barbadian?
No, she's Grenadian, but I still kept it Caribbean.
So how are you able to maintain the Barbadian and Grenadian traditions within your household?
Man, we surround ourselves with a lot of island people. We try to travel back home as often as possible. The pandemic, with the pandemic and stuff, it's been a little difficult, but we try to go back at least once or twice. And, we let our kids see where we grew up. They eat the food that we eat. I mean, my daughter, both my kids just mash up rotis like it's a joke, Mobbing the house flowing. Macaroni, her favorite is macaroni pie. The girls mashing macaroni pie and flying fish, So we try to instill and keep those traditions in the family.
I wanted to ask you what your Sunday lunch was like in your household, if it reflects what we eat on Sundays in Barbados.
Not all the time, but sometimes, like if my parents here or her parents here, yeah, man, we throw down island food, man. We got jug, we got cuckoo, we got rice and peas, baked chicken, macaroni pie for sure. It's an island, and sorrow and not rum. So.
And what's nice about you is that I'm still hearing your Bajan accent loud and clear, very strong. How were you able to maintain keeping it and, speaking and working with people from all over the world?
That's because I am Bajan down to the bone marrow. Let me tell you, this ain't going nowhere. Listen, being a Bajan is an identity, man, and I can't give my identity to nobody. There are times when I would lower off the accent just a little bit, when I have different clients and so forth. But other than that, man, I keep it 100 Bajan.
How do you connect with Barbados? Do you give back in any way? Do you come home for holidays? You mentioned you bring your children home. Let's talk about that connection you maintain with your homeland.
So one of the things I did that I'm very proud of, I went back to Alexandra 1 year, and I spoke to the students about my experience, and they were very interested in it. And it was good to come back and to talk about my experiences from since secondary school to where I am now. It's really, really good to come back and do that. When we go back home, we like to do stuff at the beach, and really connect and just relax, disconnect. I don't talk to clients when I home or whatnot. I just with my friends, I open the road, just hanging out.
You know what? Maybe you can just tell me some of the Bajan songs or music that you like, that you tune into on a day-to-day basis to help you connect with back home.
Listen, you see Emerton? That song Emerton get me through some real tough times, on repeat. My mind's still stuck on 2008 crop over. I don't know why, man. Bring me some Crossfire, some Rupee, some Allison, and they good. I find that grounding, that foundation that we have in Barbados is imperative to how we act in the world. September 4th, 2020, I had a really bad car accident, have some lifelong injuries. I got rear-ended by a dump truck at 70 miles an hour. So it was like, the paramedics were surprised that I was alive or that I wasn't paralyzed. And the irony of this is my uncle became a quadriplegic the same way, rear-ended by a car. And so it was just, when I called my dad and, he was like, man, you were like really, really lucky to be alive and to be walking. So I give many blessings for that. I had a really good Caribbean foundation that came together. The CG of Barbados reached out to me here in Miami. And it let me know that, man, my country really got my back. They really supported me.
Yeah, you definitely have to give thanks for life.
Yeah, for sure.
Giving advice to youngsters or anyone for that matter who would be leaving Barbados to go to the States or any other country to pursue their dreams. Can you just give them 3 tips to help keep them grounded on that journey?
Yeah, man. Tip number 1, remember what part you come from. When you leave Barbados, you are representing all of we. As the Bajans say, we're representing everybody. Number 2, stay focused, right? There's a lot of distractions in the world. Stay focused. And number 3, stay humble. Humility. And in Barbados, we real humble as people in Barbados. But humility is the one thing that will get you through and maintain that. And those are the 3 rules for success if you live in Barbados and come to the States or anywhere in the world branching out. For the young people that behind that coming up, listen, there's endless possibilities in this world. You just gotta put your foot down. Don't listen to the negativity, don't listen to the haters. If you have a focus on what you want to do, you keep focused on that, attack it with everything you have, and success is right around the corner.
Barbados recently celebrated its 55th year of independence and used that opportunity to transition to become a republic. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a long time coming. Big up to Mia. Let me tell you a story with Mia, right? When I lived in Claremont, in order for me to get to school, I would have to take a bus down University and then take another van, go to Alexandra. So one day I hop in my backpack and this lady pulled up and asked me, "Young fella, you need a ride?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And it was Mia Motley. Give me a ride down the street. So it's good to see that, many, many years later, that she is doing a great job. Shout out to Mia Motley.
I didn't get to ask you any Bajan trivia.
I was looking forward to this bitch.
Well, you know what? I remember. Let me ask you one of the questions then. What does it mean in Bajan traditions if a young girl's feet are swept?
Oh, that means that she in love. That somebody come and brush and she. I think that's why that.
Not entirely. It means that you may be messing up her chances for marriage.
Oh, that.
All right, let me pull up the other one. I know you got a list. I have a list. Yes, I do.
Are you ready? Come, bring it.
An important tool is needed for an important dish. So universal use in the kitchen are to share some licks. But don't worry. Yeah.
Listen, my boxy know the cuckoo stick well. All right, my grandmother and my mother ain't spare the cuckoo stick on me at all. Whether it's cooking cuckoo or gave me some licks that I deserve.
Multi-purpose steak.
Multi-purpose. I got one in the drawer here too.
Yeah, you use it on your children, or they really good behaved?
Them are. Let me get that stage yet. Them still young, 6 and 3. Let me get that stage yet.
All right, let me give you one more.
All right.
Some see me as a country boy, but most know I'm a rising star, known all over BIM from King George to Queen's Park. Bitter sometimes, but I'm more of an acquired taste, you might say. No worries. Bajans love me anyway, especially with a ham cutter on a hot day. The old girls used to sell me from a bucket on the head, but Bajans get real high class. They would rather go to Popular instead. But I ain't complaining. I ain't gonna bark. You can find me in most households fresh from the shopping cart. What am I?
Fresh food shopping cart. That's not like Marby, you know.
Yes.
Listen, that's not like Marby, but it gotta be sweet and dandy. If it's sweet and dandy, I want it dark. I want my Marby dark with enough ice. Don't short term my Marby here. You got trouble.
That's me too.
Listen,
no water being no water being.
I have taken Marby to China. I have taken Marby to Australia. All right.
And what was the reaction?
People was like, at first it was like a little bitter, but then when they get the taste of, yo, like this actually ain't bad at all. I think the key is it gotta be dark and it gotta be cold. If it ain't them two things, you know, I know men is one. You see, men in Trinidad is wanting to Marby light and put all sorts of foolishness in it. No. Give me sweet and dandy, dark, ice and water, done.
Yeah, so I really want to thank you for taking this opportunity to talk with me and to share your experience in Miami and in your career and how you maintain relations with those at home and how you share and instill the Bajan traditions in your household and your family. I really want to thank you for that.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.